This unique set of circumstances solicited alliances with others, though trust is not a part of our accord. The only currency was our mutual need for drastic change before our legions starved to nothingness. For a prince of hell, the expectations on Belial are ambitious. He continued to entertain many allies among Celestials. Since the first rebellion, countless angels bent the rules for their own personal gain. Competition for knowledge is sweeping through heaven furiously, and clashing factions plot and scheme for political power. Ideal distraction while we materialize our destructive plan. The Blood Queen is what I am called. I hold a particular fondness for the warm embrace of fresh blood being spilled as it travels over me. There was once a time when I would go months without the ability to wash. Held captive in a minuscule cell, I grew to dread it, as it was an omen that men were about to use me in ways which brought indescribable terror. When my stronghold was attacked, its assailants showed no mercy for its previous occupants. The foreigners ushered a new kind of suffering, forged me into the abuser. Though anguish turned to a growing satisfaction when voices first whispered in my ear, welcoming me to the shadows of words I could not understand. My cell was witness to a tortured child who grew into adulthood. I seized freedom when the fortifications were attacked once more. One lonely soldier came down the dungeons, carelessly falling for the trap laid before him. Though weak, I took extra steps to appear even more so. The temptation too obvious, when he came in to claim me, I wrapped my chains around his neck and pulled while tears of rage travelled down my face. Running through the maze of unknown corridors, stumbling to dead ends and different dungeons, I freed others, not as an act of kindness for my fellow captives. When I found daylight, I was met by the brothers of my victim, dozens of them. They could concentrate on the ones I had let loose, giving me a better chance of escape. A barrage of 5 men stood in my path, weapons drawn. With only a stick and the twisted, incomprehensive whispers growing louder in my mind, I managed to fend off 4 of them. The 5th one, confidently erect in silence, taking the theatrics of a filthy pale sack of bones fighting off his brothers, nodded with approval. He made me into one of his own. I used my ruthlessness to rise through the ranks. This man was a cunning chieftain, taught me to handle weapons, writing and his ways of worship. Multitude of voices increased as I grew in power. My ambitions drew attention and animosity from men who were opposed to a woman in my position. The familiar taste of life I had before came rushing back when my own men took me for captive. While the dark speech in my head intensified, I focused on it. With every thrust of a man invading me, those whispered words, finally unscrambled, came to have meaning. The sensation of blades digging into my flesh was numbed by the comfort of blanketing darkness. The pain became distant, surrounding light eclipsed. Those voices once foreign to me were sharply distinguishable, legions of them, welcoming me among them, where I truly belonged. A mortal slave ascended to Demon Queen. I claimed a territory near the mountains where the old Titans called home. I have lost much of my influence, my kingdom sacrificed to appease the rebelling Titans. With a common cause with Belial and others, we have devised a plan to take back what was ours and more. Naturally, as he possessed vastly greater resources, I let him believe he had superiority. The arrogant fool failed to see I had moved some chess pieces of my own. As a slave, I gained my freedom with a game that has served me well and continues to, as there is strength in deception. God flooded the earth to purge it of evil. When my time comes, I will see to it it is cleansed in blood.